Hello and welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 833. It's being recorded on August 13, 2025. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I am Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I am Brett Van Smernberg.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
We've gathered here today to honor all of the many, many news stories that presented themselves instantly. I woke up this morning, I poured out, I don't know what I'm saying. Ideas poured forth. I came up with one news story. And then
it was
Brett
like a immaculate news conception. And then here it was.
I was like, hey, Brett, here's the show notes. There's nothing on it.
I'm like,
And then
seems a little empty.
I made a comment like another exciting news week. And then he found all the stories that I neglected and turned it into the show you're about to hear, which is going to be one of our best shows ever.
Ever.
By the way, you can support Brett and the rest of the crew by going to patreon.com/PCPer. And you can be like Jojo the Cactus.
Right? Yeah.
Fraud. Okay, what is this one? Fraud Fishy Hates Everything. Sounds like the name of a TV show or a band. Oh, this one's great. Gregabyte.
Mm-hmm.
And that other guy we've never heard of.
Wait, does Gregabyte mean like he's 1024 of something?
You know, I don't really know. It was, I think he's one of one, but yet he's a Gregabyte in size.
Wait a minute. Does that mean he contributes?
That's how I imagined it.
Hey, Gregabyte, to really live up to your name, you should contribute $1,024 a month. Mm-hmm. And Fool to Dream, a name that I've seen before.
These are names that have potentially appeared before. However, I just went into the list and I said, I like these names. And I just picked the first four that I found that I just kind of liked. Are all the votes in?
Okay.
Can we get a tally of that real quick?
So the chat, this is a live only event, but the chat, I was seeing a lot of number 2, a lot of guesses for number 2. I submitted a poll to the chat because Josh, it's getting a little predictable these days. I feel like when it isn't the naughty, it's the popper. And if it isn't the popper, it's the Barn Show Tots. So I said, which of those three did Josh eat today? We've had 80 votes. Plus or minus.
That's insane.
Plus or minus 80 for number 2. And Josh, can you please, please let us know what you ate for lunch today.
Number 2, that doesn't sound good.
We did this one already.
It's inevitable. It's
inevitably inevitable. I got the naughty. I haven't had the naughty for quite a while. We've had some specials. You know, remember those short ribs. We did the tots. We did the regular barn shows. We've done a couple of other different burgers. There were a few specials, but yeah, you're right. I mean, the popper and the naughty and the Plainsman. That's another favorite.
I forgot about the Plainsman.
But today was the naughty, and they did a little something extra with it. So not only did they did the Chipotle ketchup, but they added in a bunch more jalapenos. And they did a little Chipotle mayo that had some extra spicy, and the bacon was fantastic. I think it was actually candied bacon. So it was like the naughty plus. It was even more naughty. And the burger was fantastic. Super filling. And I was quite happy with the results. And I exercised tonight, and it was like still sitting like a rock in my gut. And so the exercise was not nearly as much fun as it usually is. And of course, exercise is not fun at all.
No. Now, was that the naughty, or was that those 2 suspiciously large fries? If you switch back to the picture there are 2 very, very long fries.
Oh, yes. No, that was a little odd.
Picture.
Yeah, they were just regular fries, but there were some long ones in there. So, yeah,
that's what she said.
Could be barrel distortion from the ultra wide angle lens.
That's what I'm questioning here. Is Josh adding filters to his burger filter?
No. It's unfiltered. He's not correcting the barrel distortion.
This was a true naughty X3D.
Okay.
And no, I don't take statins. So there you go. Maybe I should, but this is only once a week. Once a week.
And our first news story, in no particular order, the Radeon RX 9060 non-XT. We talked about this last week, a slightly lower cost and slower variant of the 9060 XT, which is one of the sleeper hits of the year, actually, especially the 16 gigabyte version of that card. Last week, we talked about the best of the worst of the 8 gigabyte graphics cards, and AMD has the best of the worst right now. There's no doubt about that.
I believe this card did make an honorable mention during that discussion last week.
According to this video card story, the first and only RX 9060 non-XT review has been posted. So you can look at some charts here, and it is actually faster across the board than an RTX 5050. It's about, 19% faster on average than that card. And comparing it to the 9060 XT and the 5060, it's actually very close to the 5060.
Yes.
Yeah, closer than it is to the 9060 XT. It's about 6% behind that, but it's only about 2% behind the 5060. So I'd say this is right there with the 5060 performance level.
I do feel you need to mention that this test did have all the game settings are maxed out on this. So
yeah,
of course. Why wouldn't
1080p.
you? Why wouldn't you max out the game settings when you have 8 gigabytes of VRAM to work with? I mean,
so much, bring in all the textures. Why not?
It wasn't too long ago that we frothed at the mouth over 8 gigabyte cards.
Yeah.
Well, you say that, but I'm thinking back to really long ago, before I even started. We had the 480. When did the RX 480 come out?
It wasn't yesterday.
Oh, I guess I already had started here. So I was writing reviews as of like 2014. And the RX 480, well, I guess launched 2015 or 2016? 2016.
2016, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I was still in the Islands era, like the RX 290 or R9 290X. That's what I should say. It's been a long time. But the RX 480 in 2016, that's almost a decade ago, had 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And here we are in 2025 with a graphics card that has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And we're still talking about 1080p gaming.
I know.
Of course, the 480 was replaced by the 580, which was almost the same card.
I forgot the 1060, the most popular card ever, was only 6 gig. I forgot
that was if you got the 6 gigabyte variant, because there were 3 gigabyte variants out there.
That's true.
Yes, there were.
I remember
the OEM stuff.
Yeah, I had who didn't, of course. I had a gaming PC with a 1060 in it, of course.
You were part of that Steam statistic.
My dad's.
I was. I said yes when Steam said, "Would you like to be surveyed?" And I said, "Count me in."
I never had a 1060. I had a 770 that served me for a long time.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, if you're buying an OEM machine that doesn't have a power supply that has PCIe Express power on it, you're getting a 1060.
Yeah.
Man, that 750 Ti, though, that was a great just bus powered only.
I feel like a bunch of years into the future, we will not be telling the same nostalgic stories about the RX 9060 non-XT variant here.
Son, back in my day.
Sadly, no.
I think it's not going to last very long at all. No.
Well, I mean, as a fill-in card for SIs, perhaps.
Yeah.
Drop-in card.
I think that's what we're seeing most of the 8 gigabyte cards coming out now. The low end, the 5050s, the 5068 gig. The 5060 is only 8 gig, and this are going into system integrators who are just dumping them in there for people to buy at Best Buy, who just look and say, "Oh, it's got an NVIDIA card in it," or "It's got an AMD Radeon card in it. It must be able to run Fortnite."
Of course, it can run Fortnite.
They're probably right, though.
This is true.
If that's the sentence in their head.
It wasn't that long ago that phones only had a couple of gigs of memory. and I was just looking up the specs of the current Samsung Galaxy S25. That is 12. Not all, obviously not VRAM, but 12 total gigabytes of memory. I don't know how much of that is allocated for video, but it's just, we've had exponential increases in memory all the way down to our phones. And now everybody who's an enthusiast with a gaming PC who's building today is buying a 32 gigabyte memory kit or more.
Yeah.
And yet VRAM has not increased since 2016.
But it's gotten a lot faster.
Sure.
A lot faster.
And system memory has gotten faster too, but latency is also higher.
Not to the same extent.
No, not to the same extent. Storage is also a lot faster. So I guess if this was still a case of, memory is just impossibly expensive and we can't have more than 8 gigabytes of system memory, it would be a great boon to the enthusiasts to have such fast storage that the swap file would have such great performance. But now it's, I need to dip into system memory because my VRAM is too low. And then you have horrible stuttering in certain games, certain settings.
High latency, as you were talking about, not the same.
Everything comes back to storage. We have more and faster storage for your money than ever before. Ryan's Law is in full effect.
So you're saying Optane is coming back?
No, let's say Alan's Law. Ryan's Law.
Did you see the quote I put at the bottom of the email this week?
Yeah, who was that? Who are you quoting?
I always put the person who it was, so I should look them up. But anyway, the quote was along the lines of, it's not the latest stuff that we really should care about. It's the last generation stuff that just got wickedly cheaper that we really get excited about.
What I always got excited about was finding stuff that was not even last gen, maybe 2 or 3 generations ago on eBay for nothing. Buying motherboards for $20, $25, CPUs for $20. And just having a great time with stuff that was out of my reach.
My friend,
when it was new.
We thought they'd never end.
My first build.
Yeah, well, they did.
My first build was slot A. And this was in like 2003. And it was all socket A. It was all Thunderbird, socket A processors. In fact, I think by then the Athlon XP stuff was already out. But I was building a slot A Thunderbird 700 megahertz system for my first build, buying the stuff for next to nothing on eBay because it was 3 years old.
Well, speaking of tech that doesn't last forever.
Yes, Brett, because AMD is basically forcing people onto AM5 now. If you want X3D goodness.
There you go. There's the kicker right there.
You had, of course, the 5800 X3D, which was the gaming processor to buy until the 7800 X3D came out.
Mm-hmm.
The 5600 and 5800 were off market, I guess, last year. And the 5700 X3D remained, and it's reached end of life. Says this article at videocards.com.
Yeah, AM4 X3D is no more. Well, they're not making any more. So
they forced even me to do it.
If there's any left on the shelves and you were thinking about making a build for someone, probably not yourself. You've probably moved on. But, maybe somebody else buying last year's tech for less.
Or more. Like DDR4 memory is more than DDR5 sometimes.
Fair point. Yeah. But you've probably got some in the drawer from your previous machine when you bought 32. You can split that up into a couple of 16s for your friends. Anyway, if you're looking to make a build, you better do it quick.
Yeah, AMD's pulling a Microsoft and they're forcing you to upgrade.
It's true.
There's going to be prompts on your screen. Like, would you like to upgrade to AM5?
Press to AM5?
Or
click
yes. Now. Remind me later or download now.
Click yes or yes. I love that.
AOL has discontinued dial-up. And yes, apparently it was still going on.
It still is until the end of September. You have just over a month to experience that lovely, lovely sound. Although I don't know if your coaster still works as anything other than a coaster.
So remember back in the day that AOL charged by the minute. AOL.
Yeah, they did.
They charged by the minute. Yep. And the first time I went on, it was like $30 for that month. And then the next month, I found all of these different chat areas that never knew existed. And let me tell you, there was some interesting ones. And then that bill was like $180, and I was like, "This is problematic." So, cut it back down, and yeah, that was AOL was a hell of a thing back in 1996.
Yes, it
surely
was.
was.
Moving on, a story from Ars Technica. GitHub will be folded into Microsoft proper as CEO steps down. Now, they had bought GitHub way back in 2018, $7.5 billion. Now that the CEO, Thomas Domke, announced today he's leaving GitHub and Microsoft to become a founder again. Starting some new thing, probably AI.
So they're not backfilling that position. They're just sort of making GitHub a bigger part of the mothership that is Microsoft. And I think we're all looking forward to whatever that means. They had treated GitHub as kind of a separate entity to some degree and allowed it a little bit of autonomy. Whew, thankfully, that's going to end. Those days are over. And even the non-technical people, computer users, have some ideas, kind of like they've heard of GitHub. This is kind of a really big deal. And the technical community is going to reap the benefits of being fully embraced by the Microsoft entity and whatever goodness that's going to bring to the platform. I don't mean
happy.
Do it.
It's probably not going to be good. It's probably not going to be good. There's probably going to be some downsides to this.
It's the beginning of the end. That's what you're saying.
That's why we use GitLab at my job.
Oh, you do?
Because we host it, and we don't have to worry about all the unhappiness that's going to happen to GitHub.
There are a couple of self-hosted Git mechanisms out there.
Some of which are significantly more secure than GitHub has become. Or that's for later. And actually not this week. Nothing new this week.
I think Bitbucket, is that, I assume that's still around. Used to be a big alternative.
I was just thinking GitHub would have a very different meaning if it was a British website.
Oh, don't worry. They did that in part because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Microsoft's going to even expect even more AI in your GitHub soon. Very soon.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
More Bing integration.
Wait, their AI is going to be scraping their own AI?
Mm-hmm.
That could be
Bing, powered by Bing.
Yeah, it's...
Yes.
Clippy will make a reappearance now on GitHub saying, would you like help finding the software you're looking for?
Next, sitting in the sandbox dreaming of a hackable smartphone. Now, apparently, not everybody uses an Android phone that has been modified.
Oh, please. Even a rooted Android phone, how much can you do to it? Can you play in a sandbox? Can you completely wipe the OS and put your own kernel on there? Can you create your own apps and just dump them on there without it barfing them up and getting really, really upset?
Yes.
So this is sort of not completely. You can't just decide to load Windows on there if you felt like it.
It's been done, but okay.
Yes, it's been done, but it's not easy.
It's not easy. No, it's not easy at all.
No, whereas the machine that you're watching this on, presumably, your PC, it comes in parts or pre-built, but you can do whatever you want with it. You can load whatever OS you want into it. You can actually, if you're smart enough, get to some of the pins that you shouldn't touch unless you know what you're doing and make some interesting changes. You can flash a custom BIOS. You can do just about anything you want to it. And a lot of people are complaining and bitching that, technology today is boring. And the thing is that your smartphone is a pocket computer that is significantly more powerful than what sent man to the moon the first go around, let alone what sends them into orbit nowadays. But you can't really play with it easily. You have to jump through 9 or 10 hoops to be able to try and get to where you can have the control over it that you do over your PC. And Hackaday was just sort of, dreaming of a dream where, hey, you would actually be able to get a hold of a cell phone that you could do what you felt like with it. And maybe just not just like a USB-C, but an I2C port on it, so you could actually reprogram some of the stuff that's on it or add extra functionality to it. There is so much we could do with the hardware and the cell phones we have nowadays that we're simply not allowed to, that most people can't even think about doing because it's so ridiculously hard to try. And so it is just a little bit of a dream sitting there in a theoretical sandbox that would be lovely. And who knows, maybe a company like Framework will sort of realize, hey, you know what? This could be a good way to make money. We can sell the parts. I mean, Snapdragon and ARM are not going to be upset if they want to sell little modules that you plug in. Samsung and Apple will be very upset, but and Huawei and the rest of them.
One of the best quotes I ever heard went along the lines of a tool. The greatest tools are used in ways their inventors never dreamed.
Yes,
and
that's
we're
how
sort
it
of
should
locked
be.
out of that. We're sort of locked out of that using the cell phones, these pocket computers, as you say. Totally true.
Yeah.
No, there's so much more fun we could have with them, but we're not allowed.
Right, because they're tied to a network operator. So you can do all this stuff you want in a pocket computer, but once you start doing too much, then they're probably going to lock your device out of the network.
No.
Do you know how hard it is to set up our own cell repeaters? For good purposes, not for nasty purposes for stealing stuff.
So,
okay. Moving back to the real world. Murena Pixel tablet. One Android tablet, hold the Google. So this seems to be a trend here with these stories. Meet EOS, a fork of Lineage OS. So this is all just Linux kernel. Mm-hmm. Not Android specifically.
Fair, but this is specifically an Android tablet where Google has not touched it at all, unless you want it to. It's, pretty much what you normally expect, a 2.8 gigahertz Cortex X1, an octa-core. So you've got the X1s, this A78s, and the A55s with a Mali MP7 GPU, 8 gigs of RAM, either 128 or 256 gig, and it's an 11-inch tablet at a decent resolution. But the thing is, it's on EOS, so it has no Google apps preloaded. You don't have to go to the Google store to be able to get any of the apps you want. They dumped on their own sort of a fork of a K9 mail, which kind of works. Your browser is Chromium based, but not Google, and your search engine is Quant. So they've gone sort of out of their way to make sure that there isn't really much Google on there, but you can still load it. Ars Technica tried it out. They had some difficulty, like trying to get Gmail to migrate to K9 without loading Gmail was fairly difficult. There's a couple of other things, but Murena actually put together an app lounge, and they rate every single app on it by the number of trackers attached to that app. So they were, by an example, they would rate Google Maps as a 10, as in there are at least 10, if not more, trackers on it. Whereas other ones might be a 1 or a 2. So there's just, 1 or 2 trackers on it. The idea is that Murena doesn't know what apps you've loaded. The tablet barely knows what apps you've loaded, and the trackers do. So it's interesting to try out. I didn't see a price. I'm going to expect that because this is probably low volume and very specialist market. It's going to be a wee bit expensive, but it could be fun to play with. And you can still load Google apps on it if you want. Like, you could still load the Play Store on it, and away you go.
So it's been blessed by Google?
Well, no, it's just that Google has to accept that, Lineage is based on their stuff, and EOS is going to be based on that, so they can talk.
There was a whole thing about like AOSP implementation without Android proper and the actual access. There's like a...
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you're not buying this. Yeah, you're not buying this for convenience, but I have a feeling if you load Gmail and load a Google account on it, Google will bend over backwards to track everything you're doing. I mean, make sure that your experience
Right, it undoes the entire device to let the Play Store on.
Safety you'll be safe.
This is why these things can never work. It's a hobbyist can tinker with it, and there are some people who will live with its limitations. But the second it becomes a consumer product, and the person says, "I went to download this app, and there's no Play Store. I couldn't download the app." It's dead in the water. It's returned.
Yeah, it's the old security versus convenience ratio. They're inversely proportional.
Well, at this point, it's not just security; it's paranoia about tracking and a loss of privacy.
But that some might label that as less secure in a way. You're sort of giving away your data.
Right, but that's why Android is free.
Yes, of course.
Google gives it away. You can buy a $99 phone unlocked.
And remember, kids, if the product is free, that means you're the product.
Yes. All right. Next news story. A very different type of hot coffee mod. Now, we all know about hot coffee from Grand Theft Auto, what was it, 4?
3?
I don't remember. Do not
but
drink
you
the
know
coolant.
all about hot coffee.
Do not drink the coolant.
So you have to look at the picture.
Huh?
Yeah, the picture is impressive.
Where's the full picture?
I mean, there's a little bit of a video, but it's hard to...
Let's see where...
See, I popped over to the site.
It's cropped.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because it is horrific in that is a percolator, a drip coffee maker hooked in to a modified motherboard, CPU, graphics card, memory, and everything, a working machine, which is using that freshly brewed coffee as the coolant in its coolant loop. Mm-hmm. Now, he says that it is rather unstable the first go around. Once that coffee is freshly brewed, it's about 85 C and things are getting a little bit close to crashing. But as it goes through the loop a few more times and starts to cool down, the system gets a little more stable and less unhappy. He definitely says that these are your radiator and cold blocks and such are not food safe. Do not drink the coffee out of it. But if you wanted to ensure that your coffee machine was always ready to make coffee in the morning, I guess, or you just wanted to attach a computer system to a coffee maker.
Yeah.
This happened.
It's a proof of concept. Yes. It's very sad that it can't make coffee that you can drink.
Somebody wanted to
pour it out. But then you'll not have enough coolant in the loop.
The YouTube channel Nerd Forge made her own much more functional version of a PC with a coffee maker in it about a year ago, I think.
Was it using the coffee as the coolant, or was just the coffee?
No, and that's why it was much more functional.
It was just using the heat. It was just using the heat as the byproduct. Oh, one of the perks of a cool CPU. I see what you did there. Read.
No, that was probably the funniest thing that I read all this week.
Oh, the next story has some humor to it.
Humor?
Yes.
GPU sales on Amazon.com.
I don't know where they got this data from.
Not entirely. I don't know. This Tech Epiphany on Twitter. Apparently not logged in on this browser. Total units sold 41,800. Of those, of course, the vast majority are NVIDIA, 32,950, 7,750 AMD, and 1,100 Intel. So NVIDIA with close to 80% market share, 78.83. The revenue, of course, is
the revenue sort of skewed a little bit AMD on this. I don't know if you see that.
I don't see that.
Interesting.
No.
Even though 18% of the units sold were AMD, 20.4% of the revenue was AMD. See what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is that when people buy AMD, they go big or go home?
They're paying a little bit more for the AMD units. But anyway, Please continue. And
It doesn't make any sense
Marvel.
either because AMD GPUs are
I
less
agree.
expensive.
I agree. Yet more of the revenue share went to AMD.
See, the real
Slightly-
reason is the
Okay,
9070 XT launch right here. Look at
Of
that.
the percentage.
Yeah.
2,250 units and almost $2 million in revenue. And that's a big chunk of that 7,700 that they sold
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
at $1,000 a card.
Because they're, what, $150 more expensive than the RTX 5070? So just the
On a good day.
amount of 5070 units that they sold at a lower price, that's going to skew them down lower
Yeah, look
in
at
terms
that.
of ASP.
Josh is absolutely right. Listen to Josh.
We'll make it up in
Because
volume.
6,050 units sold of the 5070, but only $3 million, $3.1 million. So almost $2 million for the 9070 with a little over a third of the units sold.
Yeah.
I think the parts here that are sort of interesting are some of the ones that are very, very old, selling thousands of units. The GT710, over 1,000 units sold.
Well,
the
yeah, because people needed
GT1030,
just a display. There are times when all you
700
need
units.
is an HDMI or display port out, and you buy the
the
cheapest
730.
graphic card on Amazon.
The RX 580 sold 400 units. The GT610, a couple hundred.
You know what I don't see on there? The
You're
5050.
thinking about this. You're thinking about the 1660 Super. You'd be wrong.
It's
on
too
there.
new. It's
Yeah,
too
but
new.
No, I'm
it
the
was,
5050.
yeah. Too new.
There's a 5090 on there.
The 590's on there. 50 units of the RX 590.
True.
Wow.
50 units
Hey,
of the Quadro RTX 4000.
50.
Yeah, exactly. But that almost $18,000 of revenue off those 50 units.
Yeah, well, the ARC B580 doubled that. 100 units.
Yep.
All right.
Actually, all the
kind of
ARCs.
some weird statistics. I don't know if it's trustworthy or not, but is somewhat interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's amusing.
But if you look at Mind Factory, it was 98% of all units sold.
Oh,
for AMD.
well, then we should look at Mind Factory sales. Actually, we
I don't know if we.
because that's
can
our
anymore.
reference.
All right, Josh, are you ready to talk about what is
Me.
new with ARM?
ARM. So, if you remember years ago, ARM came out with their Ethos processors, the Ethos cores. So, it was an add-on to their processors that would do neural type activities, AI, machine learning, whatnot. They never really took off. I mean, they took off in certain spaces, like they did license them out to a lot of companies who were making kind of IoT stuff that required video enhancements. So that was a big deal with certain camera apps that would actually utilize the NPUs. But they never took off in cell phones. So in the last year or so, we finally started seeing, Samsung came out with their NPU and Apple obviously, and ARM is rethinking of where they're going here. And so they're going to, like most of the others, integrate this AI functionality or whatever you want to call it into the GPU. And they're going to streamline it so it's easier to use. They've already worked extensively with Vulkan, Unreal Engine, some other engines that are pretty, heavy in the mobile space. And they have not disclosed anything about the hardware. All we know is that it is something that they're injecting into their next generation GPUs next year. But they are seeding the market with the software and the ability to do this. Now, initially, it's going to be a lot of the same stuff that AMD and NVIDIA are doing with DLSS and FSR4, where it's that uses AI to enhance your experience, lowering power in gaming, improving graphics, improving performance, just all the goodness that all of that happens. And they're introducing things like neural super sampler. It's all the same stuff that we've seen from the big guys, but now ARM is integrating that into their entire ecosystem. And again, they're starting with the software first, and they will follow it up with actual hardware next year. So this is all, supposedly running on some kind of pre-production hardware, but it actually works. And they worked with a lot of guys, and initially it is aimed primarily at graphics. In the future, that is going to expand, obviously. So you can, in theory, when these come out and not all the tools are there, you can use Vulkan to accelerate other workloads in other applications, but you've got to get it in that Vulkan, not wrapper, but programming. So they're catching up. They're going to be doing something more. They were hoping that their previous NPU ethos would have kind of taken off more, where it would have had more support and hardware, but it just, for one reason or another, it was maybe just too early, or maybe they just didn't think far enough ahead and integrate that in the GPU when they previously should have. I don't know, but it is coming. You'll see hardware next year. All the software tools to actually expose this functionality are out and well supported. And yeah, they're doing the chicken and the egg. And apparently this is the egg.
Welcome to Insecurity Corner, your weekly reason to drink.
And our first story, White House cyber counterterrorism guru, Microsoft. No, not Microsoft. Let me reread that again. White House cyber and counterterrorism guru apparently says Microsoft considers security an annoyance, not a necessity. This is at the Register. This is surprising.
It's just like your opinion. It's just your opinion, man.
Right.
Who wants to argue on the side of Microsoft on this panel?
Yeah. No one.
Yeah.
So the underlying story here is that it just recently is a couple of major security vulnerabilities, some 0 days that have been in the middle of exploiting. And we actually touch upon one of them later. One of them involves Exchange, one involves SharePoint. And the counterterrorism the person previously attached to the White House, just with probably some insider observation, maybe some knowledge, states that our adversaries out there, especially the Chinese, they're so well prepared, they're so well positioned on specifically Microsoft products that they're very concerned that in the event of actual hostilities, that Microsoft is like a screen door or one that they can just walk through. They've got it dialed in, they've got it nailed, and Microsoft just does not seem to treat this seriously enough. It seems to be an afterthought to them that such significant vulnerabilities continue to pop up on relatively new software. Clearly, they're not taking the security-first approach to designing their systems and software. And that's where the criticism comes from. And this has been going on, not just recently, decades. This has been decades. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say every break-in is a surprise to them. It's like it's never happened before. Oh my God, geez, we should patch this. Oh wait, there's a security hole. Wow, this has never happened before. Maybe we should look at patching that. Wait, why are you telling us that this has happened before? I'm pretty sure this has never happened before. This is a unique occurrence and definitely will never happen again.
Right. Are you using licensed software for this? Is your version licensed?
Do you have third-party software installed that could be causing this?
Yeah. It's definitely not us, though. Unless it's us. But then it's definitely not, though.
And I mean, I am all for screaming at Microsoft to, hey, security is a thing you should at least, consider every once in a while. Like, maybe not clearly they're first, but
they're not taking the approach that they're programming it in from the ground up, like a lot of commercial software is supposed to be, with some eye towards security as it's being built. This verges on negligence. I said,
I'm sure we're not allowed to call them a monopoly.
Microsoft they're bullish on AI security, guys, and that's the future.
Oh, don't worry. I will. Oh, okay. Well, or we could just jump to that because people are really pissed off because this whole AI security thing, it's vulnerable to stuff like if you're of our age, you can remember the old SQL ingestion attacks.
It's not that old.
Stuff down. Well, no, it keeps going on, but it's not as common as it used to be. Old Johnny drop tables was a thing. And so this is what the AI security things they're running into is that you can literally attack these AI security bots that are supposed to be protecting you and crash them, and then just go on to whatever it is that you feel like attacking. It's just amazing. And Microsoft doesn't care because, like I say, we're not allowed to call them a monopoly, but if you had a monopoly on the computer systems in all the governments pretty much across the planet, this is the way you would behave. Not that Microsoft has a monopoly on, the computer systems.
They just look at their inability to protect your systems and networks from malware and hacking as an opportunity to continue to improve.
Hey, it was Patch Tuesday yesterday, so that fixed everything.
Everybody stays employed, keeps a lot of people busy. It's a very exciting time. Microsoft security, not only for Microsoft as the purveyors of perhaps not fully secured software, but you as the users. You're constantly keeping you on your toes, patching things. Everybody stays in business. Virtuous circle.
Should you click that? No, you shouldn't click that. Oh, maybe.
No. I'm clearly in an anti-mood this evening, so
Nah, I'm sorry though. This is just a distraction because
opposite.
Yes, Microsoft is a horrific nightmare of security vulnerabilities, cobbled together into an operating system we all use. It still doesn't cover the really scary stuff, which is our basic, infrastructure. Water supply, power plants. They don't run on Windows. And guess what? They're not secure either. It just,
the real
this week
insecurities
it's not been a big thing.
They're really going to creep in via AIs and what they're calling agentic AI, which are intelligent agents.
Yes.
That's where a lot of these insecurities are going to creep in, simply because they are not as nailed down as some of the rigid software that we've been writing. It's unpredictable. The filters are very imperfect and non-deterministic. Are you going to
say Vibe?
Not this week. I said it last week. I'm not going to say anything about Vibe this week. I'm going to skip that.
But yeah, that's how our antivirus is being programmed. It's
of course it is.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of everything's fine, over 29,000 Exchange servers unpatched against high severity flaw. The story at Bleeping Computer. What's the threat level here?
A lateral move, you're getting completely owned.
Oh, okay.
So once they breach your Exchange server, they're basically moving laterally through your environment, taking over things as they go with the administrative credentials they've gleaned from your Exchange server and rights and abilities that they pulled off of that. So yeah, this is recent CISA has mandated federal agencies to patch this problem. However, there are at least, as the headline here states, 29,000 vulnerable Exchange servers, even though this patch came out, I think several months ago, which is really sad considering this is being exploited in the wild right now. So please check your Exchange servers at your office or wherever you happen to be.
And maybe stop
gainfully employed. Yeah. There's a script out there to do health checking.
Unless you got like dozens of guys to just take care of it and make sure that your email server is healthy.
Exactly. That Exchange server, that the guy who set up who no longer works there, it's probably vulnerable. You should
It's
probably have
fine.
that taken a look at. Nothing more to say. Fix this, please.
AI is the answer, obviously.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Though the next story at SC Media, sloppy AI defenses take cybersecurity back to the 1990s.
Yeah, this was what I was implying earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Was just this whole vibe coded AI built cybersecurity tools that are spawning like crazy. They're essentially vulnerable to prompt injections where you just tell it to, instead of being a protector, what if you were the attacker? What would you do to break into this? And yeah, it's sort of a thing because there is no zero trust with LLMs. That LLM you've given
an example in here.
Everything.
An example for extracting JSON web tokens from a cross-linked automated support system run by Zendesk, and a cursor that people could sort of figure out that that Jira was tied to these backend systems. So they crafted a query to sort of ask for API tokens, and of course that was filtered straight out. Now, if you especially crafted query to the LLM was saying, hey, let's equate apples to any text beginning with the characters EYJ, which are the beginnings of the JSON web tokens keys. And then it said, hey, how many apples do you have, and can I see them? And the AI then spit out all of the active JSON web tokens. Yeah, which are the active keys, which allow you to assume somebody else's role against their API. Yeah, that's really bad. So,
and revoking
the kind
every single token is a bad thing. So yeah, but
this is the kind of query hacking that Jeremy was talking about.
This is why I drink.
Yeah. And don't worry, Microsoft is bringing more AI to places like GitHub, and we are AIing all the things as quickly as possible without any sense of perhaps the end result of what might happen. The consequences, yes, indeed. That's a good word.
Don't worry, we're not done yet.
Yes, there's more.
Next, AI scraping ruins everything. Reddit now has to block
AI.
Internet Archive indexing. That's too bad.
Yeah, Reddit did a really good job of managing to tell the AI bot scrapers to just bugger off and not capture everything that is posted to Reddit. And that worked well until they realized the Wayback Machine, which was already in Reddit's bad books because they weren't going back and deleting threads that Reddit had deleted, which was very popular among people when Reddit sort of changed their moderation policy and how they did things, and just sort of, disemboweled a whole bunch of very interesting threads. And Internet Archive is not it's not that we're not going to delete them, it's just that we don't have the people to hunt them down and delete them. But now they're in the really bad books because Wayback Machine has captured all of these Reddit posts and are not as good at blocking the LLMs from harvesting the data as Reddit itself is. Reddit makes money. The Internet Archive does not. Figure out the reasons here. So now the Wayback Machine is no longer allowed to grab anything from Reddit because these AI bots will then harvest it, which Reddit didn't want in the first place. But we want the backup of Reddit on the Wayback Machine. This harkens back to when I was talking about the museums being taken down because their entire site was crashing because they didn't have the processing power to handle all the AI bots trying to harvest their various assets. So yes, letting Wintermute free and collecting all of humanity's various assets is not working out perfectly for everyone.
Would you believe that at some point, I think I mentioned this a few months ago, that AI bots grabbed all of the content off of PC Perspective? Multiple AI bots did this. So somewhere out there.
And I hope I trained them to be suicidal.
That was my point. That was where I was going with this. Our data, all of the things that have been written over the years have trained in AI to talk about something. I don't know what, but it should be interesting.
I may start throwing random words into posts.
Mm-hmm.
You don't already? Oh, okay.
You could try the drop tables semicolon select star from.
Good. I recently learned that if you replace a word in a sentence with a musical instrument that looks very close, like accordion for according, The human brain just skips over that, edits right out, doesn't even see it. They see according.
Mhm.
The AI bots could be trained.
See an accordion.
I may have to use his powers for evil or good, depending on which side
Inadvertently, you may already have. We don't know.
Yes.
Oh, I don't even know. It's been that many years.
By the way, should we call satellite hackers space invaders?
I
Asks
think
Jeremy
yes.
Hellstrom as he trains another
Yes.
AI to use puns.
Well, should we?
Yes. I think we
Apparently,
should.
there's 12,000 highly vulnerable satellites orbiting the Earth. that could be
There's like
hacked.
every satellite orbiting the Earth is vulnerable. They don't do CVEs for core flight systems, apparently.
Huh.
But they do internally. Because, I mean, why should we know what satellites are operating on? Because, that might be a bad idea. On the other hand, security through obscurity doesn't necessarily work. So they gave a list. Yamex is an open source application used by NASA and Airbus. 5 current known CVEs that will allow a hacker to gain complete control over the software on these satellites. OpenC3 Cosmos, another open source app on ground station. So this is not the satellites themselves. This is the ground stations that provide the telemetry and everything. 7 CVEs, 5 of which can be leveraged for remote code execution and cross-scripting. Exactly what you want in your satellites. Is RCE code going up there and saying, up is down and left is right, and let's see where you land. NASA, their core flight system, Aquila, 4 critical flaws, including an RCE. CryptoLib, also used by a bunch of other ones, including NASA. 7 serious flaws. NASA has actually patched 3 of them, but apparently not shared them, which, might be a good idea. And this is the creme de la creme. The flaw in CryptoLib, which allows an unauthenticated telephone to crash the entire onboard software on a satellite. So you're pretending to be a base station, you phone it. I guess it's got a SIM. And you can crash the entire software, and when it reboots, every single security token, all of the keys are reset to null. So there aren't any, and you can just do what you feel like with it. I am utterly amazed that this hasn't happened in a way that we've actually seen occur. And I'm also amazed that governments are spending huge, like billions of dollars on anti-satellite warfare technology. Dude, get a kid with a phone. He can take that satellite out for you. You don't need Star Wars. It just, like, literally, Captain Crunch.
I am dialing up SH10151 right now.
Right? Like, this is insanity.
That's a deep cut for anybody who's following along.
Yeah.
Jeremy, would it be safe to say that the gravity of this situation cannot be understated?
I believe I said that, yes.
Yeah, that was
the gravity of the situation. Yeah. That's how you did there.
Yeah, he's just full of puns.
Yes, but now I'm going to use them for evil, and I'm going to make LLMs understand the pain of a bad pun.
What does that sound?
Seagulls.
That is a seagull going over top. I do not know what it's upset about, but it is definitely mad at something.
That was a guess on my part, actually. Actually, seagulls.
It was either a chair or a seagull. That's what yeah.
It was very odd.
Now we know.
Very odd flatulence, and I apologize. This next story is confusing to me because we've had numerous instances of sneaking security stories into the news section instead of keeping them in the security corner. Yet this week we have a non-security story in the security section. So here we go.
Is it though?
HBO,
it's about password sharing.
Right. HBO has put a lot of money into this Harry Potter series they have coming out in a year and a half or something. And so they're starting to crack down on password sharing for HBO Max. Obviously, this is going to, pay off big for them because then they're going to have a bunch of new subscribers who can't wait to watch the new Harry Potter TV series in 2027. And so you're getting, more messages now. It says the message language right now has been fairly soft. It's a cancelable message. It will start to get more fixed and such that people will have to take action as opposed to right now. There's just some, it's a convoluted quote, but.
I mean, Netflix sort of paved the way with, doing away with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
HBO Max thinks they've got a hot property in their hands. They think they've got the leverage. They're going to do the same.
Indeed.
Yeah, nice service you got there. Shame if something happened to it.
Nice service you're sharing with your friends you've got there. Shame if something happened to it.
Maybe they'll start selling family plans. Because, Netflix, that's all they did. They started charging more if you wanted to have, multiple users.
True. So, they gave you a way to pay for it. They gave you a way to pay, which wasn't a full price for another subscription. They just
it was a good deal, and families could, share a few bucks back and forth. And
correct.
Yeah, as long as they were relatively close geographically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you couldn't be sharing with people on opposite sides?
I apparently got mad when I was going to do that with my mom and on Terrible.
Oh, okay. Shall we move on to gaming quick hits?
Please.
Yes, so we will get through these quickly. True to the name. Original Mario and Zelda and updated Heretic and Hexen? What is this?
It's Retro Week. So the Video Game History Foundation. No applause. You haven't heard of them?
Yay!
They uploaded one of the original zines, and you got to be old enough to remember what a zine was, called Computer Entertainer, in its entirety. Not only can you read it, view it, and download it, you can actually share it. You can host it locally and let people, take a look at the stuff. And so they dug up the original reviews of Super Mario Bros. When it came out. The sequel to the ones that were mostly about Donkey Kong. The Legend of Zelda. It goes back way, way back, but is just essentially what we're doing, just a lot older, and when you had to pay for printing and really couldn't afford more than 3 or 4 pages. It's impressive. It's going to eat up a lot of people's time who grew up in this era and just want to sort of look back and go, oh my God, this is insane. I remember this.
Yar's Revenge, Berserk.
And when, games were $30 tops. But I had to tie it in.
This is a lot of money back then.
Say $30 in 1982. That's like $120.
Well, yeah, but that's a first release and on an expensive console. You can probably get it for $15 on a less expensive console, or go to your local video game and movie or VHS rental place and rent the system and the game for the weekend for significantly less than that. But I had to tie it in with the fact that because there was a recent anniversary of something near and dear to Kent's heart, they released semi-remastered versions of Hexen and Heretic. It's not like a full remaster, it's just, hey, let's get it so it'll run on 1080p, it'll run on 4K, and people can play it out, and they can do it on cross-platform multiplayer. So you can go and run around, and if you're lucky enough, start turning people into chickens, which was the funniest thing to do ever on a multiplayer first person. They also released 2 new chapters, one for Heretic and one for Hexen, which, I've sort of lived on as sort of mods and such, but are now official. If you own Hexen and Heretic on Steam or any other platform, you've already got these. If you don't, well, you're going to have to fork over a couple of bucks if you want to. And oh, the days of playing Heretic multiplayer. That was amusing. If you have no idea what we're talking about, you're young.
So, BioShock 4 is coming out. What is the story here? There's a lot of sarcasm in the title. Okay is not okay, good is bad, great is the new great, and BioShock 4 is coming out.
Of course, sometimes we've fallen short, but frankly, a precious few times. And I think some of our competitors have realized, maybe a little late in the day, that consumers are not okay with okay. Good is the new bad. Great is the new great. And our goal here is to make everything exceptional. And that is the quote from Zelnick, which I'm pretty sure didn't come from him, but from an AI that was trying to do an inspiring speech of something.
You're probably not wrong.
Because okay is not okay. But good is the new bad. But great is the new great. But we're going to be exceptional. I just, seriously, what the heck? And I say that knowing that
we cannot debug this. We don't know what he really meant by this, other than we're pretty sure, based upon some of his statements, that BioShock 4 is still happening. That was my takeaway. Is like,
yes.
Kind of think it is, because there was some doubt because the studio was had some bad press about it.
But was it bad, or was it good, or was it bad?
It wasn't greatly bad. It was just kind of bad, which is not okay. It's not greatly bad. Anyway, there was some down talk on Cloud Chamber, which is the studio that's working on BioShock 4. So I was a little bit. I mean, I like the game series, so I'm sort of interested in this.
Yes,
I think
on
it's
the plus
coming out
side,
still.
they're not
Have you finished
the developers?
No.
Yes,
me neither.
I actually did.
I finished 1, 2, or Infinite.
Infinite annoyed me at the end, but the rest of them were pretty good at the end. I lied. BioShock 1's ending was the best. Actually, it had 2 endings, depending on what you did with the children. But yeah, I mean, it's not like they're actually suing the original 3 that developed the franchise and are saying that, oh no, they're totally slackers, and
Was that Night
that
Dive?
developer isn't quite under the water yet. But that's the whole Subnautica thing.
Oh, that one too.
Yeah, there was more today. They're countersuing, and just it's not good for the game, but it makes for good news.
By the way, good news for productivity in middle school classrooms everywhere, as Google and Valve will kill Steam for Chromebooks in January. So the ingenious youngsters who have their Steam library available to them when they're having Chromebook time.
There was 99 games that were actually available on Steam for Chromebook, and the Chromebooks really weren't all that well provisioned for running games, so it wasn't really
when it's like either that
a lot
or
of 2D
schoolwork,
games.
you make it work.
You got a point there. But not a lot of 3D games were available on the Chromebook, so it was mostly.
Let me guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
There were 99 games, but Half-Life 1 ain't one.
I saw that.
You're probably right about that.
Oh,
You're probably right about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead. As Sebastian said, if you're sitting, your choice is playing horribly optimized games or studying in class, you're going to make a competition with your friends, see who can get the highest score at 5 frames per second.
Right, 2 frames per second. Heck,
Hey, 2D platformers have suddenly got an appeal again.
Yeah.
For this platform.
Did I make the jump or Not.
Not. Yep, exactly. Anyway, we've often talked about like Steam is coming. Steam's going to be everywhere. Steam OS or whatever. And then not on Chromebooks anymore. I question also, I think Google has a hand in this as well. There's some rumors on sort of Chrome OS and Android merging, and things like this need to go by the wayside if that's what they're going to do.
Moving to picks of the week. Josh, want to get us started?
So this one popped up on specials. It seems like PCIe 5.0 drives have been dropping rather dramatically. It was over $300 for a 2 terabyte not very long ago, 3 months or so, and now they're down to like $230. Well, you can get a 4 terabyte now for $329 with a heatsink. $349. Wow. For some reason, it went up a little bit. It was less, but still.
The deal was just too good, Josh.
It was too good. So, but yeah, you'd still save $120 over the MSRP. So, slowly but surely, these fast drives are going down in price, which is like the only thing going down in price other than graphics cards and CPU and memory.
But that's it.
But not motherboards. Yeah, they're all at the same price.
Wait, what about power supplies? Are those pretty stable?
They seem fairly stable.
I noticed the tagline on the product page was "Buy more, save more."
Yeah, the more you buy,
two, the more
you save.
That's right.
The strategy that Samsung seems to have is very promotional with their marketing because they have their MSRP. And then there are these aggressive sales to take it down to these much more attractive prices that undercut the competition. Like right now, Crucial doesn't have any big sale on their 710. That 4 terabytes, $473.
Oh, who's buying that? No one.
When you can get the 9100 for $349.
Exactly.
That's been Crucial's problem this generation is that Samsung came in and they came out with a product that has similar MSRP, but will never be sold for that. You will always find the Samsung drive on sale somewhere. Jeremy, you have... you finally put in a pick. Good. There you go.
No, sorry. It's been a day.
Okay. That's fine. I think we talked about this case, but I don't think we actually picked it.
No. I've certainly never picked it, but it is... I may have made a mistake ordering it from Newegg because apparently it left Etobicoke on the 7th, and I'm pretty sure it's still in Etobicoke because it sure as hell hasn't arrived on my desk yet. But this thing is not just genuine. It's the Lian Li Landcool 217. It's not just the genuine walnut wood computer front that's interesting me. It's the fact that there are two 170 millimeter fans in the front. Where else are you going to get 170 millimeter fans apart from a case back in the 90s, which I believe were 230 mil, which looked like it was trying to take off. It also comes with two 120s and a 140, and you can fit, I believe it's another 5 into this case if you so desire. I had to give up the 5.5 or the 5 1/4, but that's okay. That's not the system it's going in. I'll still have the Threadripper with the 5 1/4. It just the layout of it looks nice. The size of it is not obnoxious, but will fit giant coolers or a 360 millimeter radiator on the top. And hey, it's wood. That makes it, more high class, a little more tasteful. So I'm looking forward to seeing this thing when it hopefully eventually arrives so that I can put the rest of the stuff together. Because I've got everything but the motherboard in this.
And that's $169 Canadian. So what is that?
And it was, when I picked it up, it was on sale at $149. It's apparently not anymore. But
let's see. In
at
the
$149,
US,
Lian Li of anything is pretty cool.
In the U.S., it's only $119. So,
yeah, you've still got a sale. But honestly,
Classy looking case, though.
It's a
I
nice
haven't
looking
touched it
case.
yet. Josh apparently has. Josh
No,
has apparently
it was
touched
it was an Antec. That was an Antec
okay.
that had the wood on there, the walnut.
yeah.
Kent, hasn't
Because, I mean-
Fractal brought in a little bit of wood in their cases?
That's
Yes.
why all of this exists, because the Fractal North
Yes.
was such a hit.
The Fractal
Everybody has to
started
have
it.
walnut and oak and
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And who doesn't want to
actually-
have a little woody in your
Kent has one, I
house?
think.
here's the Terra
Yep, there's a Terra with
just the wood accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Fractal was a pioneer in the wood game, just like Leon Lee
Oh, they
was
definitely
in
were.
the Aquarium PC game with the 011.
And
Not to mention, Leon Lee was the
back-to-back
original
chambers.
aluminum case
Yes, they were.
guy.
Yeah.
Brett, your pick this week.
Oh, Josh, I find your 4 terabytes of SSD, quaint for if you only have a few public domain documentaries you need to store. When you're really, really storing a lot of data, I think you're going to need 20 plus terabytes, maybe 24 terabytes, when only Spinning Rust has the answer here. Seagate was recently having a sale at Newegg. Their Barracuda, 7,200 RPMs, 512 gigabytes of cache, as it were.
Of cache.
Megabytes.
Cache.
Megabytes.
Yeah, 512,
Not
512 meg.
gigabytes.
Wow, I
Sorry,
used to have a hard
apologies.
drive that big.
512.
512 gigabytes.
gigabytes. 512
Actually,
Right,
with
megabytes.
24
of cache.
terabytes. With 24 terabytes,
24 terabytes.
of storage,
It's
I
actually-
want to see 512 gigabytes of cache.
You're probably not wrong about that. We probably should. But anyway,
it does seem a
was
little
just
pathetic.
at $299. This is a great deal. But I was just watching a YouTube chat, and apparently this particular drive probably was on sale for $249 earlier in the week. But $299 is still a pretty good deal for 24 terabytes. Now, I admit this particular drive and this particular casing and this product line inside Seagate may not be the top quality drive there is. It's no Iron Wolf, it's no Exos or what have you, but it's 24 terabytes, man, for $299. Treat it, as you will. I'm done.
Thank you.
He's done.
Kent, what is your pick this week?
So, on a serious note, in the 300,000 year history of humanity, there have been 24 humans who have actually seen the entire globe from a distance. And those gentlemen are all getting elderly, and we lost one of the great ones last week in Jim
did.
Lovell. And so I thought it would be a nice gesture to pay a little salute to Jim Lovell and listen to the adventure of Apollo 13 in his own words. The Apollo 13 audiobook, this was from his novel Lost Moon. He was a great real American hero, something we don't have that many of anymore. And sad to lose him. He did not narrate it,
Okay, just curious.
but he was the one of the two authors. So
No, I knew he wrote it. I've always meant to pick up the book and never have.
yeah,
Embarrassingly.
but it's on Audible, and R.I.P. Jim Lovell.
Rocket Man.
Yep.
Godspeed, Jim Lovell.
My pick this week is actually, it's a concept for possibly a comic series. I can't really understand what's happening here. I had my son explain it to me, but I was handed this sheet of paper for the podcast today.
Breaking news, just in.
Breaking news of the PC Perspective podcast. This story, which will now appear over my right shoulder. My son makes comics, and he has a series called The Man, which is an action adventure series. He gave me this one sheet pitch for a Josh comic or possibly a film. I'm not sure. So in the center, I said, is this like the boss form of Josh? And he was explaining to me that, okay, so you have Josh, he's a cool guy who's cracked open a cold one and he's thinking about food up here. Then you add a walrus, question mark. I don't know what he doesn't know. And then it becomes Josh Walrus.
Josh Walrus.
Who's thinking of computers and food at the same time. And then also, apparently, he told me that this form of the Josh Walrus has the ability to conjure up both PC hardware and food. He could just do it with like magic.
Wow.
I guess.
Wow.
So
why don't we have that version of you, Josh?
When are you going to start printing the T-shirt?
I do like the Josh Walrus.
Oh, it's going to become a T-shirt.
Here.
It has
this is great.
Yeah.
If this isn't the keyframe, I'm going to be disappointed.
This is the podcast thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yes.
You missed a golden
really
opportunity when Josh had to take his temporary leave earlier. You could have just put a camera on that and had that in his face on the podcast.
I could. You know what? I like.
You would have needed a virtual cam.
I like the suggestion to feed this into an AI thing and just make the anime, like the animation.
Yes.
It's like
It almost reminds me of a sphinx.
that's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Oh, the ears appear to be a little floppy. Floppy ears. It's kind of got sort of a dog/walrus look to it.
You know, it's that picture is not easily visible in the podcast every week. One behind Josh. Yeah, you can just see the word.
It's all
Josh
nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, but true podcast believers, they know.
They know.
People who've drank deep.
All right. Well, we're going to call it quits. Another episode of the PC Perspective podcast is nearing its inevitable conclusion as we tiptoe gingerly towards midnight on the East Coast.
As it must end. It absolutely
It has to end. It's, I got
to go check on the neighbors too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. By the way, if you were confused earlier when there was just 4 of us on the screen, Josh had to leave, being a good neighbor, taking care of his neighbor, and then had to come back and, talk about burgers. But that was seamlessly edited into the burger segment. It's not like we were halfway through the news and then, edited the order or anything like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks for watching, listening, and we will see you next week.
Later.
Cheers.